I will start with how we were raised in the Christian way, which has contributed to who I am today as a pastor and a servant of God.
Each of them, before they went to school, we pray and ask God, where do they go? Are they going in the right direction? And God always answers.
I've always known Daddy as a doctor. And sort of at some point, I felt like I was going to be a doctor at some point.
I have always felt like a son because of the love, because of the care that I have received, not just from, the family, but from, Daddy himself.
And Daddy was that man that was very concerned, very interested in the details and all that you're doing, to be successful.
And at a point, he said too, that love is a daily thing and it grows daily, that every day he must be telling me I love you. Every morning, as he's greeting, we greet ourselves and we now say I love you. I say I love you too.
Grandpa would go to the office and he would come back with gifts for me and my brothers. But he would specially call me aside and say, I have a gift for you. I just love the way he used to treat me. He treated me like a princess.
I remember a few months ago when he was ill and I don't know what, a thought just crossed my mind and I was like, wow. So one day I'll pass by the house and then there will be no Daddy to greet in the morning again, and I broke down.
Triumph. The story of Dr. Idrisu Noah Ufaruna, servant of God, family man, academician. In the heartland of Nigeria, in Ogbabo, Ugwalawo district of Kogi State, a beacon of knowledge and faith was born. October 3, 1949 marked the birth of a humble child named Idrisu Noah Precious Ufaruna. Born amidst the crude estimates of the time, Noah's journey began as an adored child, nurtured with intense love. Recognizing the need for education, Noah's father enrolled him in the Native Authority Primary School. This marked the onset of a journey from his native Ogbabo roots to substantial academic and professional heights. Young Noah, with resilience and enthusiasm, made an 8-mile daily trek for his education, exhibiting an early brilliance that led him through the doors of secondary education at Government Secondary School, Dekina. Noah's deep-rooted faith blossomed during these formative years. He became a cornerstone of the Fellowship of Christian Students at GSS Dekina, inspiring many with his unwavering devotion and moral character.
He is a father that you saw doing the right things, not just saying the right things, but doing the right things. He was such a godly example who raised us in a very godly way.
He wasn't just a believer in the ethos of the Christian faith. He lived it practically.
He's a very straightforward person. As in, you would never catch him say something and then at the back he'll go and say something else. So I learned to be straightforward from Daddy. Everything, he meant everything he said, and he said everything he meant. He would not budge. He won't deceive anybody. So I had no example of deception or anything.
He had a very generous heart and disposition to the people around him. He made a lot of sacrifices for his siblings and mommy's siblings to get an education, real sacrifices.
I was 10 years old when he picked me up from the village of Babu to Ilorin, Kwara State. in 1975 where he started parenting me. My brother is a man of integrity, full of passion for God, which he inculcates into our life, the life of his children, and all that comes in contact with him.
His pursuit of knowledge took him to the University of Ibadan, where he achieved a BSc in chemistry. In 1975, Dr. Ufaruna served the nation educating young minds at the Nembe National Grammar School. His sense of duty and commitment to nation building were evident throughout his service. Returning to the academia, he pursued his PhD, becoming a symbol of attainable dreams for his community. His passion for chemistry and academia shone as he began his teaching journey. His dedication to the academia was unflinching, as evidenced by his tenure at the Federal Polytechnic, Ida. Dr. Ufaruna rose through the ranks, leaving an indelible mark on the institution with his commitment to academic excellence and exemplary character. He served in various leadership capacities, including as head of Department of Science Technology, director of School of Technology, and in the exalted position of deputy rector for 2 consecutive terms.
Is that the quality of a man's life is defined not just by the money he had or the material possessions that he was able to enjoy or that he possessed, but by the number of lives that he touched, by the lives that he changed, by the people that he impacted, and by the impressions that he made on the people around him.
I remember my first interaction with him as like 15 years ago now, thereabouts. We met, and in his very inquisitive, he will ask questions. He will ask you questions, he will ask you questions, and questions is not to put you on the spot or anything, just to ensure you're okay. Yes. It was very, very welcoming, very friendly, and even till date, one of the reasons I was able to easily adapt and adjust after marriage was because of him. Because he was always, any time we got to meet or had an opportunity to interact one-on-one, he would always ensure you're okay. When he sees me, I'm there, I'm trying to struggle to greet him in Lingala, maybe hello daddy or Oka, and daddy would just he would just burst out in Yoruba, Ekaro, Bawoni, would start asking me questions in Yoruba, and we both start laughing. He will just try to make you feel comfortable and just break any ice and all that. So he was always very welcoming, very principled. Wow.
I'm an Igbo girl with Igbo background. Getting to meet a Kogi guy and deciding to marry him was one of the toughest decisions in my life. I was scared because I didn't know the kind of people I was going to meet. The only person I could trust was my husband back then, but I didn't know the kind of family he was, because we heard stories, we heard a lot about some cultures not accepting Igbo girls for one reason or the other. So the first time my husband took me to introduce me as the person he would like to marry, the first person I was just looking at, because my daddy used to tell me, if the father accepts you, no matter what the mom says, it will hold. So the only person I was just looking at then was the dad. I was like, what kind of person is he? I heard he's easygoing, but is it going to be the case? But meeting him, he didn't have any form of judgment in his eyes, no discrimination. He was all smiley, and that kind of made me know that, okay, yes, this is it. Before I started looking at the siblings and the rest of the people that were there.
Daddy always had like a smile on his face, and he tried as much as possible to make his interactions with people jovial, impactful.
For the short time I've known him, I'll say Daddy is someone that accepted people from anywhere Like if you even check the house, you see so many people, and I'll keep asking, who is this person? Who is this person? My husband will be giving long distance relationships, and they all lived in his house. It just showed the kind of person he is. It just shows that he's a generous person. He's a God-fearing person. He had no atom of discrimination. He just wanted to love on everybody.
I'm one of the daughters that Daddy brought up. I grew up to see myself there. I cannot remember that this is the age that I was brought into that family. I only grew up to meet myself as part of the family. It was after some times that I even discovered that they are not my real parents. And he's a loving father indeed. And if there's anything I can stand to tell anybody boldly anyway, is that Daddy taught us the way of God, to fear God, to love God, and to depart from evil. If there's anything that people know us for, then they'll say, this family, they are God-fearing people. This family, once they see something wrong, they will never ask you to go into it. And I just sat some days back, and I remember, I said, I can't even picture out any day that they said, okay, Daddy beat me for even doing wrong. Not that I don't do wrong things, you understand? He's indeed a teacher. He will call you, sit you down and tell you, see, this thing, this is, if you do it this way, this is how it will come out. And if you do it this other way, this is the result.
And Daddy was that man that was very concerned. Oh, anytime I come to visit him, he's like, Jerry, how are you? How are you doing? How's work? How is, okay, so your business, what's happening now? You know, he's very interested in the details and all that you're doing, you know, to be successful.
Daddy really scores high marks in terms of the way he impacted people. First of all, you can tell from the quality of the lives that his children lived, that his children live. He has raised not just, you know, morally upright children. He raised me a great wife. He's raised, you know, some generals in the kingdom, people of substance, people of character. And I've also looked, you know, to the extended family, and I've found the lives of people that he touched. I see cousins, I see brothers who tell me that, look, they became Christians just because of him.
Since inception, he has come to our family. He led us to know God more and more in a spiritual manner. So that is when we will come to know about spiritual Christianity, even though we were born into a Christian family. Since I knew Daddy, he has been a great advisor to me and even my entire family. So we were with Daddy alone for almost 1 year until my sister came back from Ibadan. And we were not finding it anything difficult with him. He funded us when we are going to school. He gave us a transport. We do everything as if we were born the same, maybe father and mother or daughters.
In 1993, Dr. Ufaruna expanded his horizons, taking a sabbatical to join Alpha Laboratories Limited in Lagos. Here, he deepened his engagement with the practical aspects of chemical sciences. Despite his foray outside the ivory towers of learning, the call of academia remained strong. Dr. Ufaruna returned to imparting knowledge and fostering a culture of academic rigor. His dedication and contributions were recognized nationally and internationally. He brought his knowledge and experience to bear at the University of Abuja, Nigerian Tulip University, and Nasarawa State University, embodying discipline, leadership, and warmth. Dr. Ufaruna's influence resonated far beyond the classrooms. His work with the Organization for the Prevention of Chemical Weapons took him to Switzerland and Algeria, highlighting his commitment to the global impact of chemical sciences. He was a prolific scholar, leaving his mark in the world of chemistry with over 20 publications. These and more earned him the highly coveted fellowship of the Institute of Chartered Chemists of Nigeria and the prestigious fellowship of the Chemical Society of Nigeria.
You know, that used to read newspapers. You even know that.
Yes, I remember that very
You know,
well.
when he comes here,
Exactly.
in his old age,
yes,
in the latter years,
yes.
you know,
He would always ask for newspapers. Yeah.
It was because I always saw that he was reading. That had like a huge stack of newspapers. It sort of like made me interested in reading very early.
I remember in those days, you know, I would buy newspapers. That's how I started reading. National Concord. So I got reading from him. Then that took me into Christian literature, then into history. I remember I read one of his Biafra books. And, you know, as a reader today, God has, you know, I'm an author, an internationally, you know, internationally achieved, accomplished author. I have books that are best-selling on Amazon. But you see, I took that, you know, that reading.
And I am really grateful to God that He saw some of those successes in my life. You know, there's several times where we had conversations and He said that He was actually proud of, you know, how I turned out. A father being proud of the achievements of his son, it's not something that is trivial.
One level of glory to the other.
Dr. Ufaruna's walk with God was the most important pillar of his life. His profound Christian faith was evident in every sphere of his life, from his work in the church to his contributions to society. At the Federal Polytechnic, Ida, he played a pioneering role in the formation of the Christian Staff Fellowship, where he served as president until he departed for sabbatical leave. He also served as one-time president of Salvation for All SFA, an organization involved in evangelizing rural areas of Igala land. At Living Faith Church, Dr. Ufaruna's service to God were nothing short of pivotal. From providing shelter to the first missionaries in Ida to his leadership service at Living Faith Church Gwagwalada in Abuja as an elder and chairman of the church council and other statutory church committees, and later at Living Faith Church Goshen, his sacrifices painted a clear image of unwavering dedication. He played a significant role as the Gwagwalada Living Faith relocated to its permanent site. Dr. Ufaruna's spirit was a beacon for the congregation, a peacemaker, a counselor, a reconciler. As chairman of the church planting committee, he was instrumental in the establishment of over 9 new churches. After serving at Living Faith Church Gwagwalada, his journey took him to Living Faith Church Goshen, where he served as an elder until his departure. Despite health challenges, Dr. Ufaruna remained a beacon of generosity and unwavering commitment to the wider body of Christ, as testified to by bishops and pastors whom he held very dear to heart.
We kept going. We led fellowships. Me, I was coordinating the children evangelism ministry in either local government. From that 83, and our aim was just to bring the children close to God early in life, not leave them until Satan has initiated them into witchcraft before we start delivering them. So, and we do it such that we create Bible clubs all around the town, and so that at least children play groups, whether Christian or not, will be able to come, and then we can now minister Christ to them.
But Beyond these professional and spiritual accomplishments, he was also a devoted family man, deeply loved by his wife, Angelina Uneku, and their 5 children. Their love story began in 1976 in the picturesque town of Ida. They nurtured a love that endured over 4 decades, a love that was built on Jesus Christ and shared principles and on mutual respect.
When we newly got married, each time I'm in the kitchen cooking, he's with me. At a point, I told him, as a man, he doesn't have to sit in the kitchen. He said, how can he sit and then I'll be working? And each time he's in the kitchen, he's always appreciating me. Say, well done.
One great memory I have of that is that my dad is a great chef. Actually, there's a setting where I make my eba, and I learned it from daddy. So that while there was a time when we were in Lagos as children, daddy made some awesome delicacies. If you think about my culture, where I come from, you rarely see men take on the role of a wife that cooks. But yeah, he did it, for his love for family, and he did it, without complaints. Cooked our meals, packed it for us while we go to school.
As a father, Dr. Ufaruna left no stone unturned in molding his children. The sound of his midnight prayers became the backdrop of their childhood, instilling deep reverence for God and a moral compass that will guide them throughout their lives.
Like, I really missed him. I really missed the way he used to talk to me, the way he used to behave to his grandchildren. He was like a special grandfather to me.
I really miss Grandpa. I wish we could have gotten into more conversations together. I really miss him.
God Almighty, God made her a wonder.
Amen.
One thing I know this might sound a little odd, but I like that he was old. Not in a bad way, in a good way. I liked his white hair. He was nice to me. I wish I knew him when he was young so we could do some more fun stuff. He was intelligent, he was smart, he was nice. He gave me my first chemistry book. He would play with us, he would teach us. He was very prophetic.
His unwavering belief in letting them follow God's path led them to a variety of successful careers. To his children, he was affectionately known as Daddy, a man of compassion, respect, and generosity. Their spouses too became an integral part of Dr. Ufaruna's loving family, cherishing his spontaneous visits, his genuine concern, and his godly leadership. As an elder relative, he stood as a pillar of support for both his and his wife's extended families. His resilience, prayer, and decisive action helped them navigate numerous family challenges. He and his wife made a home over the years that became a bustling hub of activity, a haven for many. It was here that their spirit of love, support, and firm discipline was most evident. Their house was a symbol of godliness, community unity, and generosity. From feeding a large household of, at times, 17 people, to providing education to near and distant relatives who needed support, Dr. Ufaruna's resilience, care, and discipline became the pillars of their family community. He was indeed a generous benefactor.
My workplace was close to the house, and most times when I'm on my way to work, I could just stop by, say hi to Daddy, and I look forward to that. So one day I would no longer I'll pass by the house, and then there will be no Daddy to greet in the morning again, and I broke down.
When I heard it, I first of all shook from my head to my toe. I was shaking, and I was like, what? So I was of the opinion that we should pray him back to life.
Before he was about to be taken into the hospital, and I greeted him, just shook his head, and he went away. And then when I heard that he passed on, I started praying, crying, and it was just a painful moment.
I couldn't mutter anything. I went to the hospital, saw him the way he was. They had something stuffed in his nose, and I was like, are you sure these people are not suffocating Daddy? At first, I didn't come to terms with the death. For like a month, I didn't. And I actually was persuading them to make the burial much longer because I couldn't face the burial ceremony.
You know, in this period, we are celebrating Daddy's life, and we look forward to seeing him and know that we'll see him on the resurrection morning. And we know that he has entered into a season of eternal rest. You know, and so I'll say to him, rest on. You have entered into your reward.
Today, we celebrate the legacy of a triumphant life that started from humble beginnings. Dr. I.N. Ufaruna was a man deeply rooted in his work with God, his service to God and man, the pursuit of professional excellence, and his love for his wife and family. A man whose life continues to inspire many to embrace godliness, live humbly, serve diligently, and strive for excellence. His legacy, a life well lived, love for God and man, the heart of gold continues to echo within the hearts of the many he touched.